This is Robbie Graham speaking. It has been said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. But when this picture was first seen on Entertainment Weekly's website 2 years ago, the words mostly weren't encouraging, but more like enraging. A reboot of She-Ra was inevitable, but almost no one could have predicted how it would be perceived. From slut-shaming of the original character, accusing male fans of using her for certain pleasures, slamming the people behind the original series, to making the character seem minor in comparison. She-Ra has been around for 35 years. She came along at a time when female animated characters played second fiddle to their male counterparts. Yes, She-Ra was made after a line of action figures. Yes, almost every character looked identical in terms of height and shape. And yes, She-Ra, along with He-Man, were animated to sell merchandise. Most animated shows made in the 1980s were modeled after toy lines or video game franchises. It happened when President Ronald Reagan deregulated the FCC, or the Federal Communications Commission, the governing body for broadcasting in the United States. It also allowed for shows to be more aggressive in nature. DreamWorks Animation, who produced the new series, and its showrunner, slammed people who liked the original series for these reasons, calling the original She-Ra everything from being one-dimensional to being scantily clad. The original voice of the original She-Ra took to Facebook in September 2018 to defend the original character and her millions of loyal fans who grew up with the characters, and to stop the marketing tactic of doing these things, putting her career and reputation on the line in defense of the character and her fans. I've been watching cartoons for almost 50 years, and I have seen my share of them. But the new series couldn't have been more different as Dr. Jekyll was to Mr. Hyde. The new series did have some potential, but the showrunner didn't use or took advantage fully of the rights to the original show's premise, or put the slightest bit of adherence to it. The show should have been more of a continuation of the original series as opposed to a retelling. On this platform, the USCFL network, we aren't in the business of being critical of any show. There are 800 different characters in the USCFL from 5 different generations, 7 different countries. Characters who started out in newspapers, radio, theaters, comic books, and television. When I look at a show, I look at it more as a scout would when looking for new talent. The new series was supposed to promote diversity, interpretation, and friendship. While there is nothing wrong with it, but She-Ra stood for much more than that. In June 2019, the Filmation All-Stars lost to the comic strip All-Stars that caused their elimination. She-Ra made a statement to the press saying that the game concluded the worst year of her life, and for people to concentrate more on what really matters. A year later, we are now dealing with a worldwide pandemic, historic unemployment, along with protests for racial equality. She couldn't have been more correct about it. After 2 exhibition football games and 3 episode runoffs, it all comes down to this final round. It has been our pleasure to bring you a different spin on this controversy. No matter what happens in this final round, it's over, once and for all. We once again thank you for your likes, comments, and subscriptions. Now that the USCFL is in its off-season, we will still provide you with great entertainment. Be sure to ring the bell when we put up a new video for your pleasure. And now, the final round of the She-Ra Showdown. The greatest cartoon characters of all time, classic television, exciting football in the spring. This is the USCFL Network, celebrating 40 years of excellence.
Let's get ready to rumble!
For the honor of Grayskull! She-Ras, She-Ras. She-Ras. I am She-Ras!
I'm feeling happy. I feel so sad. I've lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman. I loved her so. But it's too late now. I've let her go. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes.
Greetings, cartoon and football fans, and especially fans of She-Ras. This is Bob Mozark of the USCFL Network welcoming you to the conclusion of the Season 5 She-Ras Showdown. Over the course of the last year, we've pitted the She-Ras of yesteryear and then the She-Ras of today in a series of episode runoffs. Both She-Ras won a competition each, and for this showdown, we wiped the slate clean and started over. For the last 12 weeks, and like we have done previously, we pitted one episode from Season 5 of the new series chronologically against one randomly selected episode of the original series. Like we did with the other runoffs, we used a football scoring system to rate each episode. No classic She-Ras episode featuring He-Man from the original series was used, as he does not appear in the new series. We rated each episode on their storylines only. Recently we got our 30th subscriber. Whoever you are, we thank you very much. It has all come down to this final round, and this time it's been a close, good, hard-fought match. As we go into the final round, the original She-Ras leads the new She-Ras by a score of 62-57. 2020 has been a banner year for the original She-Ras in the USCFL. Comeback Player of the Year, Disney Bowl champion, Disney Bowl MVP. Will she add this title to her resume, or does the new She-Ras have enough to pull off an amazing comeback? Let's find out now. After we take a brief pause, we will begin the finale of the Season 5 She-Ras Showdown. Classic She-Ras Series Episode 60, Anchors Aloft Part 2. The episode begins with Admiral Scurvy gloating over the captured crew of the Solar Sailor. He decides to take Adora and Spirit in the brig of the Dreadnought to Hordak and leaves the crew to be transported later in a prison ship. After the Dreadnought leaves, Davy Jones the Mouse appears and taunts one of the robot guards into chasing him. Then a hooded stranger appears and defeats first the one guard and then the others. He reveals himself to be Seahawk, using the magic weapons given to him by his father, the Falcon. Seahawk takes his men into the grotto and shows them his father's clipper. He orders Sven to convert it into a solar flyer in just 3 days so that they can rescue Adora before Scurvy's ship arrives at the Fright Zone. Seahawk asks his father to join him, but the Falcon tells him that the only thing that keeps him alive is the magic of the cavern and that he cannot leave it. Seahawk is informed that the Dreadnought has returned and blows on a magic shell given to him by his father that frees the Clipper from the grotto. The Solar Clipper then attacks the Dreadnought, but is unable to get close enough to board it due to Scurvy's cannons. However, Adora is able to reach her sword and changes into She-Ras. She is able to destroy the cannons, but is felled by one of the ray blasts from Scurvy's prosthetic eye. Scurvy intends to leave on a small flyer with She-Ras and tempts Seahawk by throwing a gold bar to him, but Seahawk uses his power ring to crush Scurvy's craft, telling him that some things are more valuable than gold. After Scurvy is captured, She-Ras quickly returns to the brig so that Seahawk can rescue Adora. He does so and even plants a big kiss on her as his reward. We will now pause briefly before we wrap up for the final scores. The new She-Ras only trails by 5 points. Will she be able to come from behind, or will the classic She-Ras stave off defeat? You will soon find out. New She-Ras series, Season 5, Episode 13, Heart, Part 2. This episode resumes with all of the different protagonists facing dire threats. Glimmer is attacked by her father, who uses his dark magic to powerful effect. Bo is in the control room of the Spire trying to enact Entrapta's program to cancel Horde Prime's network of chipped victims. However, Scorpia is besetting him with blasts of electricity. And Adora is weakened and facing an eldritch horror straight out of H.P. Lovecraft, unable to get past it in order to make it to the heart of Etheria. Finally, Entrapta is in the control room, a prisoner of the Velvet Glove, as Horde Prime feels triumphant that his plans are coming to pass. Entrapta is not disheartened, however, as she delivers a classic "The Reason You Suck" speech warning to Horde Prime that he doesn't understand the Rabel's greatest strength. Glimmer is almost beaten when she has a vision of Queen Angela and gains the strength to defeat her father. Bo is hidden by Milog's magic, giving him the time to implement Entrapta's program. When he sees it running, he lets out a triumphant cheer, which reveals him to Scorpia. However, as she prepares to finish him off, he tells her that he forgives her, and she pauses long enough for the program to run its course. All over Etheria, the victims are freed from their chips. Bo uses the technology of the Spire to create a broadcast calling on all Etherians to prepare for the final battle to end Horde Prime's threat once and for all. Catra arrives and attacks the Lovecraftian monster, telling Shadow Weaver to take Adora to the heart of Etheria. However, Catra, though valiant, is unable to defeat the monster. Just then, Shadow Weaver returns and charges her dark magic with the last of her life force, giving her the strength to defeat the monster, but only after she pushes Catra into the tunnel leading to the heart of Etheria, and then seals it. She removes her mask, giving Adora and Catra one last look at the face of the foster mother who raised them before she defeats the monster. Horde Prime is tapping into the heart of Etheria and orders Hordak to kill Entrapta. Hordak breaks free of his control and defeats Horde Prime, casting him into the chasm, the same way that Darth Vader did to Emperor Palpatine. Then, just as the evil Emperor did, his mind possesses that of one of his clones, Hordak, to Entrapta's dismay. Horde Prime teleports to the surface of Etheria and proclaims his victory. However, Catra is able to strengthen Adora's will by declaring her love, and Adora is finally able to put her doubts and fears aside and manifest She-Ras. She-Ras' power releases the magic that the first ones had trapped and restored Etheria to its verdant beauty. She-Ra then casts Horde Prime's essence out of Hordak, and the rebellion's final victory is complete. As the episode ends, the Best Friend Squad plus Catra decide to go on one last road trip to spread magic to the rest of the universe. We will now take a brief pause before reviewing the final episode of the classic She-Ras series.
I played the game for much too long. stakes too high, you're bound to lose. In the game of love, you pay your dues. Say that happiness cannot be measured, and no little pain can bring you all life's little pleasures. What a joke. I was not your woman, I was not your friend, but you gave me something to remember. No other man said, love yourself. Nobody else can.
During my reviews, I have emphasized and rewarded character growth. This puts the classic She-Ras series as a disadvantage because she is a fully formed adult. The only people, by and large, who showed character growth in the classic She-Ras series were the guest stars of each episode, who were usually never seen again. However, this is also a problem for the protagonists of the new She-Ras series, because the princesses and Bo were young teenagers, except for Entrapta, whose character guide placed her in her early 20s. They had a lot of maturing to do, and episode after episode showed how difficult it was for them to learn their lessons and grow up. Their immaturity constantly hobbled their battle against Hordak and then Horde Prime. Their growth came slowly and was frequently a case of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Heart Part 2 sees the conclusion of several characters' growth arcs. Shadow Weaver makes the final sacrifice to tap off her redemption. Hordak stands up to Horde Prime. Glimmer finds her inner strength. Catra finally declares her true feelings about Adora, and Adora uses this declaration to resolve her own turmoils and gain the clarity of purpose she needs to become She-Ra. I give this episode a 7. Anchors Aloft Part 2 sees Seahawk finally decide to become a hero and fight for the rebellion. He overcomes his love of gold to face down Scurvy's temptation in order to save She-Ra. Other than this, there wasn't much character growth by any other person besides Seahawk. I give this episode a 6. That brings the final score to classic She-Ra 68 against the new She-Ra 64. The classic She-Ra has stood the test of time once and for all.
Don't think it's been fun, because it hasn't. Bye!